she's still 60 right now, so by the time she's 62, it's gonna be about 18 months. 18 months. Okay. So she has a Fidelity 401k of about 650,000. Okay, 650,000. And so what I'm going to show you is how we're going to illustrate this Roth conversion, number one, and how do you show the person your prospect your proposal? How do you explain it? So I'm going to um, I think it always helps that for all clients you create a spreadsheet, a spreadsheet. Okay. And so for a rollover client, so let's just say I'm gonna call them um, Mr. So this is Mrs. L. Okay. Start with Mrs. L. Okay. And so Mrs. L is gonna want to retire. So I'm just gonna put here, I'll just make notes here. Notes. Let's just say this is Mrs. L. Okay. Let's just say her income right now is 85,000 per year. Okay. And then spouse income, let's just say is, I'm just throwing a number out here, 95,000 per year. Okay. And so, hey Lenny. So welcome Kara, welcome Angelica. So we got what she wants to do, like I said. So let's just say I'll put here desired outcome um is to retire in 18 months. Okay? So she wants to retire in 18 months. Now, some people, when you sit down with them at 60 years old or 59, they still plan on retiring at 65, right? So she wants to retire in 18 months. And based on the data that we have gathered, um, the Social Security, we gathered Social Security. So let me just go here over some assets. Assets is 401k at 650,000. Okay. And then a few annuities that are already matured. Okay. So we got another annuity at 11,000. And then we also have a Roth IRA at 16,000. Okay. I'm just rounding off the numbers just so you can make it easy. So our approach is always going to be to sell them the outcome. Okay. You don't sell a product, you sell an outcome that is tangible to them, that is clear to them so they can clearly visualize what they're going to have. So what normally happens in a situation like this when someone wants to retire, the first thing you're going to want to find out is number one, are the income streams. So the income streams that we're going to be able to build. So I'm going to put here income sources at retirement. Okay. And as I show you guys this, it's really more of just the methodology. I want you guys to be able to understand how you should be thinking every time you're sitting down with a client or a retirement client. So the first thing you're gonna want to do is Social Security income. So there's three ways on how to get Social Security income, or two ways. The first way, I'll just show you this, SSA.gov. You're gonna have them log in. Obviously, this is gonna be a second appointment because I already gathered the information. So give them a homework that they're supposed to create a login on the Social Security website, SSA.gov, wherein you're going to want them to find out how much Social Security they're going to receive. And if they want to retire at 62, so Social Security, normally 100% of your benefits starts at 67. Starts at 67. If you want to go with early retirement, the earliest you can take out from Social Security is at 62. Now you can extend it all the way to 70, 71. But I think 70 is sort of like I would stop people from extending their Social Security, and here's why. I have a retiree who and she retired at 65. And so, but unfortunately, she had a stroke at 65. Um, so she didn't collect Social Security because she had a long-term care, just like what we offer for people, cash indemnity long-term care. So with her long-term care, she was able to get 7,000 a month, 7,000 a month. And between her mom and her husband, who was taking care of her, they didn't need to get an actual care provider. They were just taking care of her in the house. Okay. But again, they were getting 7,000 a month. So one, she never used her Social Security. She never activated it because her husband was also collecting from his Social Security. And on top of the 7,000, they didn't need much. They just needed 10,000. The husband was collecting almost 3,500 on Social Security, plus some kind of a pension he was receiving. So they were making about 12,000 a month. Didn't need the Social Security yet. But when she had a stroke, and she was getting better, unfortunately, a stroke at 65, almost 6 months into retirement, she passed away 4 years later. Okay. She passed away 4 years later, never collected Social Security. So Social Security does not have a death benefit. You guys have to understand that. So they deduct Social Security from your paycheck your entire life. It's called, you will see on your paycheck, FICA, FICA, Federal Insured Cares Act, which is essentially Social Security and Medicare, your contribution for your entire life. With her, she's been putting on that thing for 40 years, but unfortunately, she didn't start receiving. She passed away. When someone passes away, the surviving spouse doesn't get both. They choose which one they want to get. Obviously, they choose the surviving spouse or the widow will choose which one is bigger, right? Now she was expecting to receive 3,300, but the spouse was receiving 3,500. So she's a nurse, spouse was a dentist, and the spouse was receiving 3,500. So the spouse cannot get her Social Security. Okay. So one, no debt benefit on a Social Security. So I always tell people to start getting it. If they're gonna retire at 65, just start getting it. Just start getting it. If they're gonna retire at 62, start getting it. Start getting it. Um, so I just tell them to go get it. Even if they don't need it, I'm gonna tell them I can show you where you can reinvest the money from Social Security if you don't need it, but get it anyway so that they can start funding something else, right? So, so Social Security, this is the first way on how you can get it. The second way, if you want to do it real time, there's a Social Security calculator. Oops, no, this is how their tax Social Security calculator. You can just Google it. It's gonna show up on the top page over here. I'm gonna put this on the chat real quick. And for everyone here, you can do a quick exercise if you want. Go ahead if you want to click on the link, it will open this Social Security calculator. So if you want to calculate your Social Security, so let's just say I'm going to calculate mine, okay? And I want to share with you a little trick that I do because I don't contribute a lot to Social Security because I have a corporation. I have an S corp where my WFG income gets funneled into a corporation. Okay, I'll explain that to you. This is not the time and place to do that. But let's just say I didn't do that. And my birthday, if you guys are going to be in spring training, you don't have to bring a gift, but I am turning 50 years old at spring training. So, April 17, 1976, and let's just say I'm still an architect. When I left architecture, I was making about $150,000 a year. This was 18 years ago. Um, so let's just say just double, okay? And I'm making $300,000 right now. I'll round it off to maybe the average income of an architect right now. I don't know what that is. Let me just put it 150,000 or like an average nurse that I'll be helping out. So let's just say I'm a nurse, I'm an accountant, I'm an IT guy, and I'm making 150 depending on what you guys are so the last year I completed a full cycle of income was 2025, and let's just say I made $150,000 last year. So let's just say I'm on a traditional path, right? I'm 15, the next 15 years I'm going to retire. So I add 15 to 2026. Let's just say 2025 to make the math easy. By 2040, so in April 2040, I'm going to retire. I'm going to retire at 65. Now there's a choice here if I want to do today's dollars or inflated dollars. I'm going to go ahead and submit request. And I'm going to find out that I will receive at age 64, 4,700 a month. 4,700 a month. So let's just say, I retired 65 and let's turn this to 65 real quick. Uh, anyway, forget about it. So let's just say 4,772, which is about give or take $60,000 a year. That's 5,000 a month, a little under $60,000 a year. If I retire early, this is going to be less. If I had retired, um, see, this is sort of like their calculator, and so that's kind of like how that works. Okay. Uh, anyway, now you guys know. Now you guys know you can now if I did decide to retire 2041, um there you go, 5,300. So I waited one more year. It jumped from 4,800, it jumped by $500. Okay, at 65. So I'll be making 5,300. Now, I believe because the 150,000 that goes to Social Security, my contribution, they take it out of my paycheck, which is about 7.5%. Okay. 7.5%. I don't know what 7.5% of 150,000. I think it's $10,000. So $10,000, if I'm going to invest that myself, I will definitely get to a number that is substantially more than 60,000 a year. So I would rather keep more of my money because I know how to invest instead of giving it to Social Security. Okay. So again, little hack, if you're a business owner, I can bring down what I pay myself. Right now, I pay myself, um, I think I pay myself 40,000 a year. But the rest, I just give myself a distribution, K1 distribution for my corporation. So the income from WFG is funneled into a corporation. I pay myself a salary. All of our expenses are deducted from this bank account, where it's a business bank account that pays me, and it will also pay my what you call distribution as the owner of the corporation. So in essence, a distribution doesn't require Social Security. So that's a little tip over there. Anyway, going back to now Mrs. L, her income is going to be $35,000 per year, not a month, okay? $35,000 a year divided by 12. So that's about $2,816. Now we've established one income. So one income is Social Security income. The second one, we're going to establish the retirement income. Retirement income. Now, the retirement income is going to come from what? This pool of assets over here. Assets over here. But before I calculate retirement income, we found out because I'm gonna put it here at 62, okay? Because she wants to retire at 62. So this is retirement income at 62. Gosh, at 62. So 35,000. And then retirement income, let's wrap this up, from 401k. So now this is sort of like a combined pool of income for her. So now the question is, okay, out of the 650,000, because her husband is still working. So I'm gonna put here spouse income. And if the spouse is still working, the spouse generates 95,000 a year. Okay. So here's why you guys want to know how much their expenses are. With just the Social Security that she will start receiving and the spouse's income, I'm going to add here all of the sources. So right now, without pulling anything from Social Security, from this 401k that we're going to roll over, um, they'll be generating $130,000 a year. Okay. While the spouse is still working. So when she turns 62, the spouse is still 62. And let's just say the spouse wants to work till 67 or 65. So we still have 3 years or 5 years of that $95,000, in which is kind of like the opportunity for us to grow this 650,000 and at the same time remove taxes from it. So, like I said, I offer only two products or services. I'll call it services because there's about three products in my service. Just like if let's just say you're a one-stop oil change, right? You're not going to say it, but you probably also will change the filter. You'll also maybe sell tires, but you front with, right, oil change with your services. So for me, I front with Roth conversion. I front with tax-free retirement or Roth IRAs, but on the back end, we offer IULs and we offer annuities. So I don't say the word annuity. I'm just gonna say them. I take out taxes from your retirement plans. So essentially, if someone has an income of 95,000 plus 35,000, 130, obviously we all know that's not tax free. We all know that's not tax free. So let's just say taxes on this is taxes due is about, I don't know, for a married couple, 15,000. I'm just saying. hypothetically. I don't know the exact number, but let's just say that's the taxes that they're going to be due. So the shortcut of my offer. So remember the word offer. An offer in a business. There's a guy out there. His name is Alex Ramosi. He has a book called 100 Million Offers. Okay. An offer is essentially what you're offering to someone. Okay. So if I'm talking to Lovey, right? Based on yours and Michelle's pool of retirement accounts, I'm going to show you how we can remove all the taxes from it so that when you retire, all the money you're receiving is tax free. Okay. Also, it is good to know that Social Security, if you guys don't know it yet, it's also taxable, Chandler. It's taxable because, again, that is income that you deferred. It's just that it wasn't managed by Fidelity, it was managed by the federal government. So you gave them the money, they managed it with this whole Social Security fund and Medicare fund, and they're supposedly growing that money for you. Okay. That's where that 7.5% that's taken out of your money is going to go. So, so this is taxable, but the only time it's going to be taxable is if your retirement account is taxable, which means it's a 401k, 403b pension IRA. If I turn your retirement account to a Roth, which means it's tax free, your Social Security also becomes tax free, right? So essentially, I'm going to tell them this $15,000 a year that you're going to be paying in taxes for the rest of your life, I'm going to turn it to zero. That's something you'd like to do? Or no? What's up, Jake? Or Max? So now we have a 650,000 here. If they tell us, listen, we need more than 130,000 because again, this is gross income and the net income will be 130 minus the taxes, right? So that's your net income. I'm just explaining it to you guys so you can understand what we're doing here. So everyone so far, who's super confused at this point? No? You good? You good? Okay. So now we have established that without touching the 401k, they're gonna make 115 a year. So monthly, this is 115. I would put in here 115 divided by 12. So monthly it's about 9,500. If you did the FNA and it turns out their expenses is 7,000, for example, then dude, we don't need to touch the 401k. Does that make sense? We don't need to touch it because the Social Security is enough. And so I'm gonna wrap this. I don't like spreadsheets kind of like stretching too long. Um, so we're gonna have it here, and then I'll normally use kind of like a skinny font over here, just so they're all just side by side and we can see them all in just one page. There you go. You got now your taxes. I'll turn
AG,
red.
if you froze the first column, you could scroll with the
Yes,
first
sir.
column. So
I know
then,
that part. I'm just not
okay,
trying to do
sorry.
Excel training today. So um trust me. It's this is my spreadsheet for WFG. So real quick, right? Um and if we have time, I'll show you guys that once you hit SMD, um we will build you a $1 million portfolio. Okay. So you just have to trust the process. Um, And yeah, because WFG, just like Penny always said, um, recruiting will scale. If you're just selling, you can't scale because your business is not based on the flow of customers coming in. Okay. Customers that get educated, just like everyone here right now, as you're watching what I'm explaining, you're now what I would call not that you're a captive audience, you're more educated because now you know Social Security will be taxable. Now, here's the problem also with having a taxable 401k. If you remember, my client, um, whose spouse passed away, between the two of them, they had about 1.4 million when she passed away at 69. I rolled that whole thing over, right? I rolled that over. That's why I made like $60,000 with one client. And so when the spouse retired, I rolled over both of their money at about 800,000. So I got paid, right? And then when she passed away, I rolled it over again. I rolled it over again. And so what had happened there is when he's about to turn 73, right? So the challenge when someone gets to something that is called required minimum distribution, Lovey, if you have that pool of $2 million and it's paying out, you know, let's just say 7% of 2 million is about 140 and you're still receiving, another 40,000 from Social Security, you're making 180,000. If you're married, I mean, that's okay. But if you're single, that is a very high tax bracket, $180,000 a year if you're single. So unfortunately, the IRS is not going to tell everyone if your spouse passes away during retirement, your tax bracket will go up because you're now going to file single. Does that make sense? So $200,000 a year married, that's okay. $200,000 a year single, you die. You lose that. Unless again, we convert your 401k into a Roth. So this is what we're gonna do. Now, in this situation, let's just say they don't need let's just say the situation is um they need 120,000, right? So let's just say expenses is $10,000. Okay, we need to give them an extra what? Right? Because this is what they're making. So they need an extra $12,000 every year. Here is now where you will do where you guys will all learn how we do a Roth conversion. And we have 15 minutes. So this is probably gonna be our go-to company for Roth conversion. Do you guys still see Global Atlantic? Global Atlantic, yes. Couple of things. I only use four companies, just to let you know. Yes, we talk about WFG having all of these companies. If you're gonna try to teach 100 companies to all of your agents, good luck. Okay. I use four. Okay. Nationwide, Global Atlantic, Athene, and then on the security side, Fidelity or Prudential. I think I'm going to show Prudential right now because it's just more suitable for this. But when you go into your, so all of the illustration software are sitting inside the company websites. So you got to have some kind of password management software because you're going to have logins inside MyWFG, Transamerica, Nationwide, Global Atlantic, Athene, etc., etc., etc. Inside Global Atlantic, there's going to be something that's going to show illustrations. Okay. Now, the reason why I choose Global Atlantic, and I'll explain that in a simple way. When you guys saw my training on Roth conversions, if you guys were there a while back, I explained how we need to convert 10% of what is going to be rolled over. 10% a year, because again, in this situation, the spouse is still working. And if you convert 650,000, that's like making 650,000 in income that year. So we want to spread it out. And also Global Atlantic, in terms of the S&P 500, the cap, you know how you explain IULs has a cap? Um, Global Atlantic has the highest cap most of the time. So at 9.5%, that's their cap, and 0% is the floor. So if you see here, this is the example of a $500,000 Roth conversion. But in this case, we're doing right now, we're gonna do 650,000. So the 650,000 Roth conversion will look like something like this, okay? Kick me out. Okay, so you're gonna do new illustration. This person is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, North Carolina. Um, we are using a fixed index annuity, an FIA. You're going to be choosing this one over here. By the way, this is being recorded. I'm going to be uploading the video in our YouTube channel. So you guys, if you want to review it. So for accumulation, it's asking here, is it a qualified plan or non-qualified plan? So a qualified plan, Lionel, is if the money's coming from a retirement account, 401k, 403b, anything that was tax deferred, anything that has a 59 and a half penalty if you withdraw. That's what you call a qualified plan. Non-qualified plan, if you have cash sitting somewhere in your savings account in a CD, if it's just cash, you sold the house, you kept the cash, that's non-qualified, right? So qualified is it qualified on the IRS rules. So IRS has rules in a 401k, you can only put in 23,000 a year, et cetera, et cetera. But if you're, there's a catch-up thing. So that's how this is called qualified money. So let's just say this is Mrs. L, and she right now is a female at 6 years old. 6 years old. Okay. Now, I don't, don't even do any of that. So there's a 5 year, 7 year, 10 year. You're gonna choose 7 year. Okay. Um, so by the way, on annuities, they vary payouts. If this is a 10 year, it'll pay out more. If it's a 5 year, it'll pay out less. But because the money's gonna stay there anyway for X amount of years because we're gonna convert it, but not 10 years. For most of your clients, you're gonna be using a 7 year. And again, this is 650,000, for example. Okay. So I use this point to point with cap. That's the one that's from 0 to 9.5%. And then there is no withdrawals. There's no withdrawals unless, oh, sorry, there's a withdrawal. The withdrawal is the 10%. Okay. So if this is 650,000, we're now going to withdraw 65,000 from year 1 to year 7 of the account. Okay. Let's see the reports. Okay. So here's what's going to happen. If you guys are seeing this for the first time, if the S&P 500 is positive 9.54, you're going to get 9.5%. The S&P 500 is negative 6.24, you get 0. Negative 19%, you get 0. Positive 26%, you're still capped at 9.5. Okay. So That is how a fixed index annuity will work. Now, as an added bonus, and you guys are gonna have a copy of this, especially you guys who are in the SMD to B. So I do something extra, which is educating my clients about the stock market. Okay. And this is the easiest way to almost kind of like get them to agree with you because this is just what's happening right now. When they agree with you with the overall picture, then your offer becomes stronger. So this is the stock market from 1950 to 2025. This is called the Buffett indicator. You can actually Google this Buffett indicator. Unfortunately, it's going to show you a delayed result, probably 6 months old result. I have a paid version, so I get real-time results. Okay. So real-time results of the Buffett indicator, it says as of April 3rd, as of April 3rd, the way this works is if you look at the bottom here, the lowest point, this is the bottom of the financial crisis. I literally walked them through here, which was right around, this is 2010, this is right around 2008. Okay. Over here, it says here, internet bubble. Some people call it the dot-com bubble, right? And that's right around 2000. Okay. So how do you explain this? If you, this is just my example, you can use the same example. If you bought Amazon here, some people are saying, oh, I wish I bought Amazon when it was still starting. Well, you know what? If you bought Amazon, right, when it just issued its initial public offering or IPO back in 1995, and then you're over here, and this is where you bought, and you have 100,000, after about 18 months, your balance is $5,000. Okay. Amazon crashed by 95% during the dot-com bubble. Okay. So just imagine how would you feel if you were in that situation? When would you have sold the money? Would you have sold at 70,000, at 50,000, et cetera, et cetera? Okay. Now, at the mortgage crisis, if you had bought Bank of America, Bank of America went all the way down because they're part of that whole, mortgage scheme. Bank of America went all the way down to $2, and right now it's sitting at $50 a share. Okay. Now I'm not saying you go buy Bank of America, or I'm not saying you go buy Amazon. I'm just saying this is a pattern, right? That the market will go down and then it will go up. When we were in grade school, we were given shapes. What is the next pattern? Go down, go up, go down, go up, go down, go up. Well, guess what? In 2022, something called artificial intelligence came out, or at least it passed what they call the Alan Turing test, which means artificial intelligence could pass as a human. This is when ChatGPT came out and all those other companies came out. Here's my point. When the dot-com bubble came out, this was the birth of the internet, and everyone was just wanted to ride the wave of all of those. Guess what happened right now? Everyone's just riding the wave of AI. And so if the internet bubble burst because it's too high, this AI bubble, this thing's gonna burst too. Now you include what's going on right now in the world, in Iran and all that stuff. When this thing pops, right, and it will pop, that 650,000 could potentially go down to 400,000. So now you go ask Mrs. L, are you okay losing 250,000 in the next 12 months if something were to happen? And they're going to say, what? Okay, cool. So not only will we protect you from any crash, whether it will happen or not, we will also be removing all the taxes from your money in the future. That's your offer. That's your offer. Protect you from the crash, take out all the taxes in the future. And even though we're just talking to Mrs. L, if the spouse is there, oh, by the way, Mr. L, we can do this with your money too, since you just turned 59 and a half. Okay, so let's close on here on the illustration. So the illustration, this is what's going to happen. As I run it, this is how you explain the illustration. We will move 650,000 in here, but then every year we're going to convert 65,000 into a Roth. Okay. This doesn't have to happen as soon as you move it. This will happen at least the first one. You do that before the end of the year. Do it around December. So essentially, now with this Roth conversion, just like all of you guys, if you have a living trust client, you bring in Lorna or Vinny or one of those guys during the Roth conversion. That's when you bring me along, or you bring someone who's securities licensed. Right now, you don't have a choice. You pretty much bring me along. I'm going to move this into a securities product, either what you call a RILA, RILA, or a mutual fund, but not aggressive. Not aggressive, really just a conservative mutual fund, probably a fixed income fund. Why is that? Well, here's the thing. We're going to wait for this thing to pop. Let's just say that happens right around year 3. By year 3, our Roth conversion, we're going to put it on aggressive because we're going to buy at the bottom of the market. So that Lovey, we can watch their money grow, but these first 2 years, they're protected. They're protected, but it's still liquid. It's still accessible. Now, someone's going to ask, why can't I just put this 65,000 in another fixed index annuity? Great question, because fixed index annuities have a surrender charge. When you convert this, you want this liquid to them, which means they can access it anytime, right? Not just access 10%. You want them to access it all the time. That's why we have to put it on somewhere liquid. Now you look at this during those 7 years, 65,000 times 7, you pulled out 455,000. Inside a fixed index annuity, guess what? Their contract value is still 440. You started at 650 because it was still growing. Even after you pulled out 455, they're still at 440. You guys got that? So if you add a 2, this is almost 900,000. Now, again, it's not a lot because you guys don't know what happened to the 65,000 yet. Okay? You don't know what happened yet. So this is what's going to happen to their 65,000, which is why you guys want to bring me along. This is the last part of this. We're going to use Fidelity. And so Fidelity has a mutual fund that's not available inside 401ks. It is offered by us through the partnership of Transamerica and Fidelity. Okay. So by December, you all need to get your securities license. Okay. Um, why? There's no business in December. Everyone's shopping. FELAX. Okay, FAGAX. And then I'm gonna put in 65,000. Oh no, gonna divide this by 2. 32,500. 32. I know the process is long. Trust me. That's why you guys are going to get paid $20,000 and $30,000 because you have to explain all of this. You're literally a brain surgeon, okay? Without having to be a brain surgeon. You just need a license that you have to review 2 weekends and then you're good to go. 32,500 is the other number. Now we have 65,000 over here. So now let's just say again, the taxable income of this couple is 130,000, married filing jointly, and they're gonna be putting in 65,000 for 6 years, for 6 years. But I'm going to use what happened in the market, not what's happening right now. What happened in the market, let's just say from 2008 to like 2013, right? So if this happens and you keep the money protected, and I go from, it's easier to just put in 2010 to 2016. There you go. And let's just say run a report. This is Mrs. L, and we generate the report. Okay, so this is the last part. $65,000 a year for 7 years. Total money. Oops. Let's go back. It took it monthly. This is monthly. This is annually. Okay. So we're converting every year. 65,000 every year for 7 years. Total money that went in here. Did that wrong again. Sorry, guys. Okay. Okay. Run the report. So again, it's either you guys are going to be doing this or I'm going to help you at least on the first year. Come second year, you guys should already all be securities licensed. So the total amount that was put in, I don't know why it's showing 466. So it's 65,000 times 7 years. Okay. And then you come out with the number on the seventh year is 750,000. Okay. Let's just say the average return was about 15%. So 750,000 is essentially what happened to this 65,000 that we converted. So you have the 750,000 plus the 440,000. And now we have how much? 750,000 plus 450,000, 1.2 million. 1.2 million, essentially, you doubled the 650,000. Okay. I know double is about 1.3 million. So, but pretty much close to double. And that's what I'm saying. Your offer is we will double your money in the next 6 years, and we're going to remove the taxes. Okay. Because we still have 440 here. And then now this is still taxable, but the 750,000 is now tax free. So at that point, without us doing anything, in about 7 years, in about 7 years, Roth IRA income. Now, because their Roth IRA is growing at about 15, they can withdraw about 8%. So if the balance is 750,000, shoot, 750,000 is the balance. I'm just going to put in 8%. So there you go. Now we have 60,000 coming from the Roth. Okay. The retirement account that's remaining, the retirement account that's remaining, you can either convert the whole thing or convert it in the remaining 2 or 3 years. Um, you can also withdraw if the husband is now retired and you can pull out from that money. But let's just say because we still have about 400,000 there, 440. If you put this 440 into an Athene, shoot, man, it's almost last training. So anyway, it's going to pay out about 8.5%, just to let you guys know. Accelerated annuity. So if I put this remaining 840,000, just like I said, on the Athene benefits, income, 401k, IRA, which is, let's just say, we still had 440,000. You guys still follow? So we have 440,000 remaining in the global Atlantic. And now the surrender charge is done. It's been 7 years. You can roll that over again into an income annuity. And so normally the Athene income annuity, right, will pay out 8.5% on the first 10 years. So I'm gonna go this times 0.085, 37,000. So okay. Now here's the situation, right? While the spouse is working, they have the $35,000 Social Security plus the 95,000. Now when the spouse retires, they have 60,000 from the Roth, 37,000 from that IRA, 35,000 from Social Security, and then we're going to introduce the spouse's Social Security. Spouse Social Security at 65. And let's just say that's going to be more than 35,000. Let's just say this is going to be 42,000. Okay. So now this is the income they will have once the spouse retires, 174,000. The only thing that's taxable is 37,000. Standard deduction is about 30,000. So the only taxable income here is $7,400, which is at 10%, 740 bucks. Because the taxable income is below 32,000, both Social Security will be tax-free. Husband and wife Social Security will be tax-free. And because the 60,000 is a Roth IRA, it's tax-free. So your client will be making 175,000 and the taxes is $740. One last thing. Oh my goodness, you lost me at Social Security at 62 AG. Don't worry, we're gonna keep on doing this. But let me go back to my favorite calculator, which is the compound interest calculator. So, so this compound interest calculator is kind of interesting because if I go back to my Fidelity, calculator or site builder, it was showing me that, Oh gosh, if you guys remember it right, it was 750,000. Yeah, I have it here. 750,000 side fidelity. So on this compound interest calculator, 750,000, if it's averaging about 15, which again, this is what we're going to be covering for all of you SMD2Bs tomorrow, how you're going to build your portfolio with having a WFG business income while building your tax-free retirement bucket, at least in the next 3 years, right? So so let's just say this person lives for another 25 years from 65 to 90. And like I said, they're gonna be not depositing anymore, but they're gonna be withdrawing 8% of this 750,000. So 8% of 750,000 is 68,000 on year one. Because their money is growing, the income is also growing. 70,000, 73,000, 84, 89, 96. Seventh year, by the time they're RMD, they'll be pulling out $100,000 from their Roth IRA. Guess what? Still no RMD penalty. Now, if this person lives till 90, look at the balance. Still have $4 million inside this account. This is a Roth account. So it's going to be transferred to their children tax-free, grandchildren tax-free. Total withdrawals is 4.3 million. What's left? 4 million. 8.3 million from a 750,000 balance. And that's your offer. We are at 7. So I know we're supposed to have Q&A, but Leia's got to go train. Let's go to the other Zoom. Thank you guys for hopping on. We are done with the training today. If you guys have any questions, prepare them for our little meeting tomorrow, or not, prepare them for next week. Good night, everybody.